listening to the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast, a podcast in sisterhood for female entrepreneurs that serves up savvy, actionable marketing advice and interviews with creative business owners who are in the trenches, building their businesses as we speak. The Marketing in Yoga Pants community is for you, the girl on her couch, in her yoga pants, top knot tight, hunched over her MacBook, trying her hardest to get the word out about her business. So in the name of supporting each other while supporting ourselves, bringing community, sound marketing advice, coffee, chocolate, and wine together for you, yoga pants wearing business owner, in a world where followers mean nothing, but paying customers mean the world, join us on this week's podcast episode and in our private Facebook group where you'll meet your soul sisters and build your business in yoga pants. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. I'm Brit and I'm here today with Joanna Platt. She is the founder and relationship coach at Joanna Platt Coaching. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jo.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So a little background story. Jo and I first met in a Facebook group, which I tend to meet all really cool people in Facebook groups. It's so great that way. But so Jo and I connected through a Facebook group, and Jo was thinking about, I have an online course in me and I really need to get this out and into the world. And so we hopped on a Zoom call, I don't know, a couple months ago, was it? Yeah, a couple months ago. And we were discussing, okay, how do I get this online course out into the world? We, long story short, decided to team up and kind of work on this a little bit together. She's creating the course and I'm helping her to market it and get it out there. And that's been a really fun experience for both of us. So I'm so pumped to have her here, get some more insight into her business, show you guys a little bit into her business, her coaching business, her marketing strategy, and what makes it all tick. So Jo, you ready to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. So first of all, tell me, because this is a little different from the other ladies on the podcast, tell me how you earn your living right now.
Oh, well, so I work full time.
Yeah.
I have a full-time job at a university here in DC. I actually am in a marketing role at that full-time job, which is kind of funny. So I do annual giving development for a university here. So I oversee the whole direct marketing operation, direct mail, email, social media, web giving, and phone-a-thon.
Wow.
So when your alma mater calls you, answer the phone.
Oh.
Everyone. Just answer the phone. You don't have to give, but just pick up. Like literally, that's like the best thing, at this point. We're like, we just want people to pick up the phone and have a conversation with a student. Well,
I graduated from Penn State, and let me tell you, they call me just plenty. And I do pick up when I see that 814 number coming through, because I know who it is. And I talk to the kid on the other line for a couple minutes.
It's the Lion line.
Yes, you're right. The Lion line. I'm so excited that you know that. Okay. So you work full time in a marketing role, but what about this coaching business? What's that all about?
So I am a life and relationship coach. And I believe that the most important relationship in your life is the one that you have with yourself. But I'm also, I shouldn't say but, and I really want to help people do marriage consciously. I think that marriage has been so much different than I thought it was going to be. It's been so much richer, actually. I think that people think that life is going to be set it and forget it. And so you just need to find your path. And then you just get on it, kind of like you would one of those people movers at the airport. You just got to find the right one. And you just get on it and you cruise to the end. And then that's it. And that's life. And that's not what life is. And that's not what marriage is. And thank God, because it's so much richer that way. You can have more adventures. You have more freedom. You can really create anything that you want versus if you're just on this one path. Like you can get limited by it. And if we go back to the airport example, what if you passed a Dunkin' Donuts and you couldn't get off? I mean, that would just be sad.
That would be awful. Us East Coasters are like, yeah, that would be terrible. The West Coasters are like, oh my gosh, these people in their Dunkin'. Yes. Okay. So that is definitely from the beginning, that is definitely something that I can get behind. And that's why we work together. So being that this life and relationship coaching is your thing, tell me the story of how you came to do this with your life, but also not just your career, but this side project thing you've got going on. What brought you here?
How far back do you want me to go?
Oh, I mean, it doesn't matter. You tell me.
Okay. So I'll try to make it brief, but I think that this story is good and interesting. Mm-hmm. So I am the oldest of 5 kids. And I went to college. I was a math major in college. I wanted to be a teacher because I wanted to help kids be the best version of themselves. And so out of undergrad, I taught math. I thought the grading would be easy. This is why I picked math as a major, because I thought like I wanted to be a teacher. Like that was my end goal. And I thought the grading would be easy. Like I didn't want to have to like do all the English paper grading. This is not how you make decisions in life, but like whatever. This is how I made a decision.
I like that. I've never thought about that before.
Like it's just silly. But so that's what I did. And then I taught right out of undergrad for 3 months. And by Columbus Day, I knew that teaching was not for me. And I quit by Thanksgiving. And there are a bunch of reasons for that. I mean, the biggest one is that, your job as a teacher is not to help kids be the best version of themselves. That's actually a coach's job. So, this is kind of how you see where the dots connect here. Mm-hmm. But, your job as a teacher is really to educate them. And I was not passionate about math. Like that it was like a convenience thing. Like I was good at math. And so that's why I picked it, but I didn't really give 2 craps if a kid knew what a linear equation was. Like that's actually your job as a math teacher, is to give 2 craps about whether or not a kid knows what a linear equation is. Like that's your job. So anyway, so then I got a job actually in annual giving, and I've been doing this work ever since. But within like the first, 3 months of being in that job, I was like, what am I doing? Where am I going? What am I doing? If I could describe my day in one word, it would be beige. I went from interacting with 100 13-year-olds a day to interacting with 5 adults a day.
Right.
If I chatted up the barista at Starbucks, like what have I done? And so I was spiraling out of control. That's what it felt like. But I was just like, where am I going? What am I going to do with my life? Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I tried all these different things, and the first life coach that I ever came across was on Twitter. And I was like, I said to my best friends, I'm like, I kind of want to be a life coach. And they were like, Allie's mom's a coach, right? And Allie was another girl in the group. And I had no idea that her mom was a life coach. So next thing you know, I'm on the phone with Allie's mom. And then I went through IPEC, the training program that I went through, and became a coach. But after I graduated from coaching school, I didn't know what my niche was going to be. Mm-hmm. And I had gotten married the summer before that. And so, at that point, I couldn't really be a relationship coach. It's almost like these 5 years had to go by, 5-6 years had to go by for me to get to the place that I'm at now. And 2 years ago, was it last summer?
Isn't it?
It might have been last summer. Yeah. I'm just
yeah.
But I won't get hung up on the details there. But anyway, I was coaching a client. I was on a contract through her work. And so I was coaching her about her job. But, life is life, work, everything, they all impact each other. And so anything goes in a coaching conversation. You could come to me for marriage coaching, and then we could talk about your job situation, or vice versa. And so that's what happened with this client. We were talking about work, but then something had come up in her marriage. And she said to me, I really wish that we would have talked about this a year ago before we got married. And I said to her, it's really okay. Like, you're in uncharted territory here. People don't do marriage consciously.
Mm-hmm.
And I hung up the phone after that call, and I like texted like one of my coaching friends and said, I want to help people do marriage consciously.
Boom.
And that was it.
And that's what you do now.
Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
and then the most amazing thing, I also said this to my husband. I really believe in speaking in speaking what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Just speaking it into the universe. And so I'm not kidding. The next day I got an email from a coaching friend with the subject line, do you want a premarital coaching client?
The
Yeah.
next day.
Literally the next day. I'm not kidding. I didn't
Oh
have
my
like a web
goodness.
page. I had nothing. I had a website, but the pages on my website at that point were about life coaching.
Mm.
And so she's like, I'll give you a couple days to get your, if you want to put up a website about this so people can read more. And I'm like, yeah, this is like, yes, I want this. I'm definitely interested in this. So I did that. And I was like, yeah, this sounds great. I'm not kidding. The day after that, she emailed me with the subject line, do you want another premarital coaching client?
Oh my goodness, stop.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not kidding. So
That's awesome.
then I had 2 couples that I was doing premarital coaching with.
Mm.
And then after that, my best friend, like from high school, texted me and said, do you have any books that you would recommend we read before we get married? Like, we're not doing premarital like counseling or anything because we're not getting married in the church and there's really no other options.
Mm-hmm.
And when your best friend asks you something like this, I just wanted to pour out every single possible thing that I might have ever learned about this topic, to just give it to her, like to help in any way that I could.
Right.
And so anyway, that's when Engaged was born.
And that is the course. It's called Engaged.
Yeah.
It's helping couples before marriage. They're probably engaged or almost there, figuring out how to do life together after the wedding, how do you say it? I love how you say it.
I say that, it helps people plan for their marriage while they're planning for their wedding.
Yes. I love that.
And it was actually funny because the text that prompted the course that wasn't the first time that I got that text from somebody. Years earlier, another friend texted me the exact same thing. Do you have any books that you would recommend reading? Because I read voraciously. Like, I read about relationships all the time. Like, that's my number one passion and fascination in life is relationships. I've been a student of relationships for my whole life. Like I said, I'm the oldest of 5. And so I was there were so many relationships just in my home.
Right.
As a kid, between me and my siblings and us and our parents, and my parents between each other. And, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, from the short time we've been connected and friends, I can see that not only is it your passion, but it's your skill. This relationship thing, you get it. You're in it. You're constantly a student of it. And I think that's what makes you so valuable to your clients, and what's going to make this course so great too. I can't wait for that to launch. So, okay. So we know the story of how you got your first relationship coaching client. It was kind of just out of like, oh, I really want to do this. And then all of a sudden, hey, there's somebody emailing you about it. Take me back to, you got your coaching certification, your life coaching certification. Take me back to when you got your very first client as simply a life coach. How did you get that person's attention? How did you earn your first dollar that way?
I think that was a referral as well.
Yeah, word of mouth.
From my little sisters, actually.
Okay.
I've coached multiple people who are friends of my little sisters.
And so tell me that dynamic. Like, how old were you? How old were they? What did that look like?
So I was 26, maybe
Mm-hmm.
27. And they were probably 22 or 23.
Just coming out of college, that
Yep.
really tough time. Toughest time. I mean, if anybody's just like me, that was the toughest time ever.
Yeah.
You could just get thrown out into this world that you think you understand, and then you're just slapped in the face with the fact that, wow, I had no clue what this was gonna be like. Yeah. Oh man. And then
Well, it's
and you
about making your own rules,
yes.
like, and so, and obviously, I kind of talked about my story. What I might have left out is just the like, I felt so lost. Like I was in a quarter life crisis big time when I quit teaching. And
Mm-hmm.
I felt like my whole identity, like when I quit teaching, my whole identity crumbled with it because I literally was going to retire from teaching at
Yes.
65,
Yes.
And so the whole plan just kind of, and I think that it's I have a blog post drafted somewhere about how I think that your 20s are like standing on a Bosu ball.
Oh, I love me and my fitness background. I love that. I love that analogy because it is.
Isn't it so true? Where
Oh,
it's
it's
like
so
you're
true.
just trying to like find like stable footing.
Yep.
And like once you find your balance, if you stop thinking about it for a second, you like start wobbling, and it's
Yes.
just like, and so I think that, the question is like, how do you enjoy the ride? Like, how do you start to like welcome the uncertainty and see the opportunity in that?
Mm-hmm.
But also, how do you learn how to play by your own rules?
Yeah.
Because you never played by your own rules before, your whole life, everything is like, I'm just going to do the next thing that society has prescribed for me to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you graduate, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. And that's not even just for people that have newly graduated, but that is a recurring story for people that say, hey, I'm going to go build this business over here and I'm going to go I'm going to go earn my money on my own terms. Again, same thing. You kind of jump into it thinking that you know all these rules. Most of the time, you know all these rules from being employed by someone. And then you go to do it on your own and you realize, wait a second, there are all these things, all these assumptions I've had about how this is supposed to work. Come to find out, I can actually make this work the way I want it to work, as opposed to all of the other, ways that I thought it was supposed. So yeah, that can be a tumultuous time
Yeah,
for
well, how do you
anyone.
shed the shoulds?
Right. Yes. And
You know,
right.
and like kind of chart your own path. And you are the only person that knows what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be your own best friend. You have to like be your own boss, but also, kind of be the boss that you wish you had,
Mm-hmm.
and say, it's okay. Like you can pump the brakes. You can take a break. You don't need to like go, 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 go all
Yeah.
the time,
Yeah.
kind of knowing what your limits are. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I really like helping people with, is kind of figuring out who they want to be in relationship with something. And so that could be your spouse, it could be yourself, it could be your business, it could
Mm-hmm.
be your family, it could be your friends. But like, who are you, and who do you want to be? How do you want to
Right.
show up? What do you
Right.
need?
And then from what I've been able to tell, that next level is then how do you communicate that? How do you communicate that to your own self, to whoever you're trying to build that relationship with? Uh oh, it's so crucial. And it's a huge topic that I think if you're not in it all the time like you are, it can be like, I don't know. Like, I have no idea who I am or what I'm trying to do. And I mean, I kind of have an idea maybe, but where do I even start? And that's the beauty and the brilliance behind having someone on your life team and your marriage team that is in this stuff all the time and can be that guiding light through that. And I'm sure you would agree with, obviously that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm so on board with that. So, all right. So went from um, thought you wanted to be a teacher forever. Nope, that's not going to work. Doing a marketing role, working full time, rocking this life coaching, and then turning it into, niching it into a relationship coaching. business, what is working for you right now? I mean, we kind of mentioned you have this course in the works that's going to be hitting, not hitting shelves, that's for books, launching out into the ether. But what's working right now for you to market your business and earn clients?
Well, again, word of mouth.
Yep.
I have, I'm in a conversation now actually with someone, you know, what you were saying about the not knowing and the reevaluating, like when you start your business and it's not what you think it's going to be. And then how do you kind of find that roadmap? I'm in conversation with a potential client now about what do I do after my kids aren't like leave the nest? Like what do I want to do with my life after kids? And so that's a person that I've had a relationship with her family for a long time. So yeah, so for me, it's very much word of mouth. You know, what's really interesting is that I really feel like I am still in like the baby marketing for my business, because what I do is so, up until I figured out this premarital niche, my business has just felt so like intangible and like ephemeral. Like, how do I market this? And how do I market it in a way that is honest and not adding more shoulds to people? And so my marketing strategies at this point, I started a podcast at the beginning of the year, Love Always Joe. And so I guess for me, my struggle has been, how do I market consistently? And how do I choose something that I'm going to want to do? Because I don't want to put more shoulds on myself.
Yes. Okay. So many things right there. So you kind of said it and acted like it was kind of like nothing. So I just like started a podcast, Love Always Joe. I mean, that's a big deal so it just like reframing or kind of getting the overall view. You're working full time, you're running this coaching business, and then you decide, you know what, I'm going to step up my content marketing by offering a podcast. Huge move. And I think it's brilliant too. I think just because you are in the relationship, you're talking about relationships, man, when you're in somebody's ears and you're talking to them via a podcast, wow, I mean, at least for me, the people that I listen to in podcasts, I feel like they're my best friends. I never get to talk to them, but it is a great reputation and relationship builder. So
I agree. It's funny because I've had a business for more than 5 years.
Right.
And so I think it's what I would say to someone who's just starting out is like, I think you almost kind of like dating or like doing internships or something, like you almost have to like, I tried so many different marketing things before I found podcasting. I really like fallen into a good groove with podcasting where I look forward to creating the thing every week. I have a lot of ideas for it. I just feel like I am really my best self when I'm doing this. And I had a blog actually before I became a coach. I started a blog after my wedding called Things After the Rings. My life as a 20-something newlywed. And so it's funny because you could see back then that I was really interested in kind of teaching people what I know about marriage. But then blogging became not fun anymore when I felt like it was something that I had to do for my business.
Okay, interesting. Let's dive into that then. So from a personality standpoint, do you find, so it kind of became a slog, but do you find that you can express what you're trying to get across through verbal word as opposed to the written word? Like what was that? What's the difference for you?
I can do both, actually. I mean, I write very much like the way that I speak. You can actually, all of those blogs from the original blog that I had, Things After the Rings. And then I switched it after I wasn't really a newlywed anymore to Love Always Joe. That was my website.
Mm-hmm.
or my blog at the time, which is now the name of my podcast.
Right.
You can find all of those archives. I mean, you're going to have to click back a ways, but you can find all of those things on my current site, joanna-platt.com. And I've always loved writing. I write very much the way that I speak. And I teach through what I'm learning and my own experience. And I hope that through sharing my stories, I can give other people aha moments. So to answer your original question, I can do both. And I think that I can do both pretty well. Mm-hmm. And it's actually funny because I've been thinking about blogging again.
Yeah.
Because I have so many ideas for things to share on my podcast.
Yes.
But I can only put out one podcast a week. Maybe two, but like my husband is my podcast producer. And so, yeah,
like
I don't
how
know.
much do you want to overload that system?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about blogging again. You know, honestly, the biggest thing for me is having the accountability, bringing you on to help me get this course off the ground, and bringing my husband in as my podcast producer. Like, someone is watching me.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I have to be accountable to someone, and having the accountability of my husband with this podcast has really helped me do the thing. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm only really responsible for the creating, right, which is really nice, you know, like, and so I should probably hire somebody if I do want to get back into the blogging thing, where I can just like write in Pages or like on Google Doc, and they can put it onto my blog for me and like market it on social media. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I love that. Okay. So from all of that, I'm pulling out that you have figured out how to know what's going on inside, what's going on with Joe, and then make decisions thereafter to keep the needle, move the needle forward, keep the ball rolling. So, you started with blogging, and then you allowed yourself to say, okay, this isn't necessarily how I want to get this content out right now. So I'm going to allow myself to, okay, let's go figure out this podcast thing. And then you're, just kind of working.
I mean, I stopped blogging for years before I started podcasting.
Okay.
So I pretty much did no marketing for my business for years, which I don't really recommend.
But that's the reality of this stuff though, right?
Like, it's not of having a full-time job.
Yeah. Well, for sure.
And so I was able to figure this all out because I had the stability of a salary.
Right. Sure. And I mean, that's the reality of what it's like building a business. We all do it differently. We all are going to have different journeys. It's not all going to be perfect. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, and then I stopped blogging, and then the very next week I had a podcast launch, and I never, never
messy.
let anything drop. Yeah.
And there's so much uncertainty. I think that's like the thing for me, is that like, there's just so much uncertainty, and like, just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
And figure it out. And just like, that I would tell like the young 20-somethings that I work with about their career things, like, allow time for transition, allow time to figure it out, mm-hmm. and just like experiment.
Yes.
And that's what I had to do with my marketing too.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So let's switch gears and talk about what you're working on right now. I know that this course is a major piece of a lot of your time, right? Putting that together and figuring out how we're going to market it. Tell me about what made you say, okay, I'm going to do this course. Why is it, why now? Why this course?
Okay. So, I mean, I'm doing the course because I'm a teacher at heart, and I really believe in this content. And I also believe that two really good people should be able to stay married to each other.
Amen.
So, there's that, I want that. I believe that I have this thing that I can take to market and will be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that here's the other thing with coaching is that a one-on-one coach is not cheap. It's
Mm-hmm.
very valuable, but how do you get somebody from like not really knowing you, paying you $0 to paying you hundreds of dollars, like close to $2,000 for a one-on-one coaching package?
Right.
And then
Tough.
with a
Yeah.
couple, it's even more,
Right. And
And so,
they're already spending, they've probably just recently had a wedding, right? Or are going to. So obviously hard sell.
right, exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And so the course will become the first, maybe the second thing in my sales funnel
Mm,
for this
that's what
particular.
I wanted to hit on.
And I really like that. It's just been so, so here's the thing. So I am not, we were at, we go on these retreats every couple months, my husband and me, where it's just a weekend away. And we're leaving tomorrow actually for Gettysburg for our
Oh.
next one. But in January, we were in Charleston and we were walking through like the market in Charleston, and there was someone selling like scrubs. And I was asking her about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah," and like the woman who makes it, like who's like branded it as, she uses these ingredients. And I just, I kind of, it was funny. I thought to myself after the fact, if I was a soap maker, I certainly would not be the one in the market selling the thing.
Mm,
I don't like selling. I would want someone else to do that for me.
interesting.
And I think that the course will do that.
Yes. Yeah, it's right. It just improves that trust factor without
Exactly.
having to force it or yeah.
Like, and I want to serve, like, I don't really care if somebody wants one-on-one coaching, like if you do, that's amazing. But I never wanted to be in the business of pushing one-on-one coaching on people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think the course can sell,
Right.
can sell
It's
that.
a great introduction to you. And then let's think about what the sales funnel looks like. You've got free content out there via your podcast. You've got an entire archive of blog posts as well. And then like you said, I mean, there's that, and that definitely supports the fact that you're able to do one-on-one coaching. But again, it's still a large jump. So it's so smart on your part to say, that's a big jump for anybody, regardless of how much free content I give someone. So here's something in the middle that doesn't have to lead to coaching.
Well, and
It's
some people might
serving your
want one-on-one coaching.
right. Yeah. It's serving the way that that you can serve, at that mid price point, and filling a need for those people that truly just don't want the one-on-one coaching, but still they're planning for their wedding but they know that they want to plan for their marriage as well. And man, that is hitting a need I'm sure that people have. So that's really encouraging and super smart on your part.
Thanks. Yeah, I
Yes.
hope that it will just help people have conversations. I mean, that's really what I want
Yes.
it to be. And as a coach, really, I'm a facilitator of a conversation, and I hear things differently, and I can help explain from one partner to another, or I can see a pattern, if they're kind of going around in a circle on an issue, I can kind of see where that circle begins and how they get caught up in that pattern and help them resolve it.
Yes.
But they might not need it. And then my other hope is that, maybe people don't want coaching now, but 2, 3, 5 years into their marriage,
Mm-hmm.
they might find themselves in a place where they're going round and round and round, or they're like really having a hard time. Like marriage, here's the thing is that I hate when people say that marriage takes work, because that sounds like drudgery.
Mm-hmm.
What I like to say is that, but I don't think it's wrong. That's the thing. Marriage takes attention and it takes effort.
Yes.
You just have to pay attention to it. And so, there are going to be times because, you know, life is not set it and forget it. And you know, it's not happily ever after. Like there's ups and downs, but that actually makes a marriage really rich.
Yeah, for sure.
And
You get through
so,
things and stronger.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of having this foundation and learning, I hope the course will provide a common language that people can use on their own, but then know that they have somebody that can be on their marriage team
Mm-hmm.
if down the line they want to bring somebody in to help them sort through a particular issue.
Right. So smart. You great smarts going into this whole process. I would love to switch gears and just you mentioned it a little while ago about the accountability factor in your own journey of building this business. It's been a recurring thing for you, that needing that accountability. And I think when we talk about accountability, and I've been having this conversation lately, when we talk about accountability, a lot of times people, their minds go straight to having someone hold them accountable, like physically texting them, like, hey, did you get that done? Or emailing them, or holding them to the fire till they get it done, right? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we mean this in a little different when we say accountability, because we've worked together before. I think it's something different. The relationship between the person that's doing the thing and the person that they're looking to for accountability, it's not just holding it to it and knocking your door down every day, like making you do things. That's a boss, like, right? That's a boss. And that's different. Tell me.
It is funny though, because I have told people, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, I've got this great project manager and marketing person, Brit, and, you know, I'm pretty much hired a boss.
Yeah.
That's literally what I say about you.
That's true.
In the best way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So, but you sought me out for that accountability piece and for the coaching piece. And you, in your own right, are doing that as well for other people, kind of coaching them through things, but also being, now there's another person in this relationship, or in this picture, knowing that we're supposed to go and do this, which is crucial. Tell
I
me
think it's about
about.
not being alone.
Yes.
I think that's
Yes,
what
that
it
is
is.
exactly what I'm trying to get to, with a super long way to get there. Yes. Yeah. It's
Like I mean, honestly, I'm in a mastermind group and we meet monthly and it is absolutely amazing.
mhm.
You know, for big picture, I mean, they helped me, you know, at the beginning of the year, we sat down and I said, you know, here's my vision for the first half of this year. I want to launch a podcast and I want to launch this course. Boom, for
Awesome.
6
Right.
months. Perfect. But I need somebody on a daily or weekly basis, like in there. You know, these people have their own businesses. They're also life coaches. And they can, you know, they can help me, but it's not their job. And so, yeah, it's being not alone. I'm so motivated by connection.
Yes. And that
That
really speaks to this entire marketing in yoga pants thing, this movement that we're putting together. It's not just hearing from the greats. I mean, it's great to learn from those people. And sometimes it's great to reach out to them and say, hey, I want to do this thing, like you said, with like your mastermind and stuff. But it's so crucial to connect with people also in the trenches, and willing to be there for you when you need it, and then you be there for them as well, when they need it. That whole connection thing is what is really driving this Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast and the Facebook group. And I think it's you can't do a business without it. Would you agree? I mean, it's
I
so
feel like
much
there
harder.
are people who could. I would not.
Yeah. Me either.
I mean, I
Okay.
did for 5 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's going to be amazing at the end of this calendar year to see what has happened, because I think treating yourself, like honestly, working with you is such a treat for me. And working with my husband on my podcast is such a treat for me. And so I think that treating yourself to people on your team who can help you it's just going to be amazing to see at the end of the year how much I will have like created and how much I will have done versus the last like 4 or 5 years in business.
Just trying to, the girl on her couch, hunched over her MacBook, just trying to figure it out all on her own. It's an isolating place to be. And that's a brand new way for even me to think about it, like treating yourself to connecting with others, whether you're outsourcing and paying somebody or not, or you're just almost,
or you're treating yourself to a membership in a group like this.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Just, yes. Connecting.
It's self-care.
Oh, yes. Okay. I love you.
You know, I mean, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, I went through, going from working in a corporate job, and then now I live at home by myself and I work from home. And so it's eventually I had to push myself out of being isolated. And now you're right. It feels like such a treat, and it's self-care, because I'm telling you what, I'm an introvert. And so if I don't push myself to then connect, I can, 3 days of not speaking to anyone face to face can really screw with your head. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
even if you have people around you, you could have, and I know one of my good friends, and she's actually going to be on the podcast. She's got a ton of people around her all the time, but if you can't connect with people that get it, that can be just as equally as isolating. So yes, that connection is self-care for sure. It's business care, but it's self-care as well. Yeah.
Well, we were talking about the energy levels. And so I think you can do marketing in yoga pants in one of 2 energy levels.
Yes.
Catabolic energy, which is like draining energy. Mm-hmm. And it can work for a little while, I mean, you can like be your own drill sergeant and like do it, or anabolic. When I emailed you that day and said, I'm like living the dream right now, I'm sitting on my couch in yoga pants with a blanket, watching Hometown and working on my business. Like, life is great. That is anabolic energy. That is like building, growing, healing energy.
Yes.
There's marketing in yoga pants when like you have like tea and your computer and like you're wearing something that's really soft. Mm-hmm. And like listening to something that's like good energy, or watching something that's good energy. And then there's 10 o'clock at night in yoga pants with a bag of Doritos next to you, and you're like in this sense of desperation. These are 2 completely different things.
Yes.
And how can we get into the former more? Yes. Is what I think that you're trying to like encourage people to do.
Absolutely. Right? I'm hoping to give an opportunity for that more positive outlook. Cause you're right. You can do either one. And you know what? We'll go back and forth. We're always going to have days where it's like, man, this kind of sucks, but I got to do it. And I'm not in the right frame of mind. I mean, we're always going to have those days every once in a while, but just to have the opportunity to connect to that more positive energy and with other people doing the same thing and trying to get there as well. Yeah. That's what this is all about. Well, and it can be
easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, your brand just feels so calm to me, and like taken care of, and like, isn't that how you want to feel in your own business?
Yes. Thanks for picking up on that. Yeah.
That's how I want to feel in my business. Like, I'm taken care of, and that I can serve the world because I'm taken care of, and I'm taking care of myself. And then I'm also hiring people to be on my team to take care of me.
Yeah. That's full circle, girl. I love it. Okay. This is a phenomenal conversation. I'm going to break it up a little bit. I want to go into some quick, easy questions. Should be fun. Okay. So right now, what's your absolute favorite business tool that you're using?
You? I think that's not what you're asking me, but that's
I mean, Wait, are you calling me a tool right now? Like, no.
No.
I'm totally kidding.
Resource.
Resource, yes. That's a better word for it. I should probably switch up that vernacular. Yeah. Yes. Okay, well, I'll take that. Any kind of software that you're using right now that you just love?
This is not, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, there are things I like the course platform that I'm using. I like ConvertKit. All of these things go back to energy.
Yeah.
I like ConvertKit because it's something that I just like it.
Yeah.
It looks nice and it's good energy, like it's not cumbersome. And like there are so many things in business that can like pull on your energy in different ways. And like your like web platforms like don't need to be that thing.
Mm-hmm. And
Right. Whatever. I'm paying $29 a month for ConvertKit. I literally have 34 subscribers. Like I don't need to be doing this, but I don't care because it makes me feel good. This is a platform that I want to work in. And so I do it.
And it comes right back to get rid of the shoulds.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Cheap is not always the best, people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's not always about the money. Money is not the number one thing in life.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so,
yes.
Anyway,
okay.
I do really like ConvertKit. As soon as I saw the platform, I'm like, I'm doing this.
Awesome.
I like Instagram as well, again, because it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
There's not too many things draining my energy in that space. I'm on Facebook a lot too. And I'm hoping that part of our plan is to run Facebook ads and stuff for the course. But again, it doesn't give me that feeling.
Yes. Yeah.
And anyway, and I like Thinkific too. I think it's pretty user friendly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, me too.
And thank goodness, because if I don't want to be in it, then I'm not going to do the thing.
Exactly. Right. Okay. I'm really interested to know this. Do you feel like you're an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm like so on the edge. I'm so on the edge. I need so much Joanna time in a day. It is uncanny. Like 5 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a family vacation. Well, my sister got married, destination wedding in January. And, everybody's hanging out the whole day. And my mom was like, do you want to do something? I'm like, I need 5 hours by myself at minimum every single day. Just like totally, yeah, this is, clearly my best self showing here. But I really do. I need a lot of time to myself every day just to kind of feel my feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a really energetic, I'm an empath, which is somebody who can feel other people's feelings, emotions, pain, energy, like it's their own.
Right.
And so I think that's really why I require the alone time, because it allows me to reset. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I do worry about leaving my full-time job is being alone all day. Mm. So I'm really on the edge.
Yeah, it's no small thing. I mean, even I feel like I'm an introvert. I can perform, I can put it out there, but I really need that regroup time. And I'm figuring out it takes time to figure out the balance between working from home and doing that, and working from a coffee shop, and just not freaking working, and then going out and doing something that's not work, and the whole balance. And it just comes back to, again, knowing yourself, knowing how to communicate to yourself what's going on in that brain of ours, that the whole picture. But that's interesting. I think that's a cool way that you view that, introvert and extrovert. So that's cool.
Can we talk about the drinks thing for a second?
The what thing?
Like going out and being social?
Sure, yeah.
Because I just have a thought about this that I've been wanting to share with people. I think when I first started my business, I really I just wanted to talk about it all the time. And I really wanted to be like a coach. And I wanted people to know that I was a coach, because so much of what I, my day job, isn't who I am and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Now when I go out to drinks, I don't really feel the need to talk about coaching all the time.
Right.
And I don't really need to feel I'm excited. I love when people ask me about it. I love talking about it, but I just don't need that validation. And I kind of like the break, that mm-hmm. You don't have to be working or thinking about your business all the time.
Yes. Yeah. That's an interesting dynamic, because it's up to you to, if you don't speak about your business, who is, right? Because you're a solopreneur and it's you. But sometimes you don't want to talk about it, but then sometimes or bring it up, right? Like you don't necessarily want to bring it up. And yeah, that's a weird dynamic. I guess on my end, I already have to push myself to be social and be around people to talk to. And so, yeah. And a lot of times when I'm out in that social realm, I have turned off work. I'm a boundary maker. I'm kind of like a black and white more thinker. And so I do kind of get a little turned off by having to talk about stuff when I'm just really just trying to focus on being social and not getting overwhelmed by being social. I don't know. I think it's different for everybody, but that's an interesting maturity that comes along as you grow in your business and where you find validity in the business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's where it is.
I'm at a point now where I don't really need to be talking about it at happy hour for it to be like a legitimate thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, that's a good place to get to. It's like a subtle little thing, but it's a big deal.
It's huge.
Yeah, I agree. Early bird or night owl?
Oh my God, total early bird.
Yeah, me too.
Can't really stay up past 9:30.
Yep, me either. Yeah.
Got up at 5:30 every day last week to work on my course. You know, and
yeah, you did. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, and this week too. Well, yesterday I had to do something for my full-time job at Sunrise, which was, another thing. Anyway, I'm an early bird.
Yeah, love it. Where do you find your flow in your work? Those moments where you put your head down and you start working, and then all of a sudden you pick your head back up 5 hours later and it's like, wow, that was awesome. What are you doing in that flow? Like, where does that happen? Say that again. Writing.
Mm-hmm. Reading. I think writing is so powerful. I really love it. I love creating. For me, writing is creating, and sharing. And so I really like that. I mean, creating this course has been such a joy for me. It's writing. And what's really funny? I have a blog post or something in me about this topic, is that like, would be called When I Love My Husband the Most. And it's after I've like written something or like been in that flow state. Because it gets you to that like higher level of energy, and then you kind of feel like connected to everything and everyone like in the universe. And for me, like I'm always projecting that on my husband. I'm like, oh my God, I just love my husband so much. I just love my life so much. Like, this is so great. And you know what? It's funny. I'm like, why do I feel like this? Because I'll be going to my full-time job thinking like, oh, I should text my husband and just like tell him how much I love him. And I'm like, this is like, why do I do this some days and not others? It's the days that I have spent doing my Joanna thing, reading or writing.
You have to write that blog post, because I 100% agree. And yeah, you have to write that so I can share it and be like, yes, this is reality. This is how I feel too.
Yeah. Maybe this will be my first back into it blog post.
Okay. Yeah.
My gateway back in.
Okay. All right. One last question. Looking back, what advice would you give yourself when you were first starting your business, to that girl on her couch, hunched over a MacBook, trying to figure this all out? What would you say to her?
You don't have to quit your job right now.
Yeah.
Have fun with it.
Did that bother you in the beginning? The thought, were you wondering about that or confused?
Yeah, I graduated from coaching school, and then it's like, which is funny. This is exactly what happens when people graduate from college. Like, I need to figure out my life plan right now. Who am I going to coach? When is it going to make me money? When is it going to make me enough money that I can like, get onto my real life, which is going to be like full-time self-employment. That is that's a terrible place to be in. Also, how can you create from a place like that?
Yeah. Way too much pressure.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And like, you just kind of you need to give yourself a little bit of time to like live your life and like experience things so that you can create, and that's what I would tell any new coach.
Yeah.
or any new business owner, you know, of like, just have a way to pay your bills.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that's something that's not going to like really drain your energy. But that you can kind of like fill up a little bit, and then give yourself time to like figure it out. And don't like, you know, there's just like such a black and white thing, which is in that lower level catabolic energy of like, this is what I'm doing, or this is what I'm not doing. And it's just, you know, we're just kind of like sorting of like, yes, no, yes, no. But like, I don't know, life is just not like black and white, and it's not, you're not going to know the answer. You know, I feel like we're always just looking for like the key and the answer. And and also I was always turning to people outside of me to give me that answer and to tell me what I should do. Mm-hmm. And it just bred this like scarcity and lack mentality over and over and over and over again.
Right.
And then it's funny because I said, I never want to get another full-time job ever. I like my next job, I want it to be like working for myself. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, I found my new niche within like a year of getting a new full-time job.
Nice.
Because the energy changed, you know, and I was a better version of you know, and I don't know, you just really need to watch like where your energy is kind of like locked up.
Yep.
To answer your original question, it would be like, don't put pressure on yourself to have it all figured out right now.
Mm-hmm. Amen. We have to end on that, because that is brilliant advice. All right. So before we go, could you please tell the listeners where they can find you online?
Yes, you can find me online at Joanna-Platt, Platt.com. And I'm also on Instagram at Joanna_Platt, or just Joanna_Platt.
Perfect.
On Instagram. Oh, and my podcast. How could I forget?
Oh yeah.
You can
tell us about the podcast.
You can find my podcast, Love Always Joe, on my website, joannaplatt.com, under blog. They're all there. Mm-hmm. And on iTunes and Stitcher Radio.
Awesome. You heard her, girls. Go check her out. Send her some love and hop into the private Facebook group to hear even more from Joe over the next few days. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Keep the conversation going by visiting marketingin.yogapants.com/Facebook, where you'll get to join that private Facebook group I've been talking so much about. There, you'll get to chat with our podcast guests. Yeah, they're in there too. And all of the other brilliant creative business owners. We're connecting, we're meeting our soul sisters, and we're building our businesses, all while in yoga pants. So come hang out with us. Again, visit marketingin.yogapants.com/Facebook to get in. And one more thing. If you dig this podcast, would you be awesome and share it with someone? This entire Marketing in Yoga Pants movement is nothing without its community. So please share. And if you're really feeling the love right now, jump into iTunes. You're probably already there if you're listening to this right now. And leave us a rating and review. The more of those we rack up, the more the podcast will be found by ladies like you, and the stronger this community becomes. This episode was edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, so go find them at podcastengineers.com. This episode was also brought to you by my online marketing agency, Jam Marketing Group, and you can find us at jammarketinggroup.co. That's all for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing in Yoga Pants podcast. Love ya. Bye.